Alrighty, Friday, July 5th. Nice session today. Surprisingly good close to the holiday week. We came into the session wanting to see how price was going to trade versus this prior all-time high in ES. If price was able to hold that previous all-time high, what we had on our hands was a daily time frame breakout. Taking a look at, let me jump into the daily time frame here. So we could see about 2 weeks of range trading, right? Monday triggers that spring setup on the daily time frame chart like we talked about on Monday and on Tuesday. That ignites the move up into the session highs here, up into the near-term range high right through here. And then today we just want to see if buyers are able to show that continuation play. So overall, some really clean action, some very technical action. Love to see those little clues like we had on Monday and Tuesday's session with the very slight undercut of that intermediate term range, grabs all the liquidity down there, and then sets up that spring setup, which is going to take us into the structure highs. Like I said, Wednesday's high right through there. And then for today, all we want to see is whether or not buyers can show that continuation move. So we come into the sesh primarily looking at the reaction versus 55.88 and 55.85, that level of interest right through here. That was the main focus for today. Taking a look at the actual intraday action. Now this is all, let me flip to the 2-minute chart, but this is always fun to see when you have a data print and price perfectly respects your level of interest. That's just a reminder that even with the news, even with volatility, things like that, the market is always going to trade technically, always going to be seeing some action versus those key levels of interest. That's exactly what we saw this morning. Now, during the actual regular trading hour session, you have price retesting that key prior breakout point, nice undercut of the previous low. That sets up an intraday spring, and then that marks the low for the session. It's exactly what we want to see. Very, very clean action today here on ES. So now, as far as what we'll be looking at for Monday, pretty much today's range. We have another trend day on our hands, looking at 3 consecutive trend days higher. So it may be time for a little bit of a breather, right? But as far as Monday's action, we're going to be looking at the reaction versus today's high. And that's going to be the primary watch, keeping it incredibly simple. Do buyers show that continuation move? Now, Monday's typically a slower session, right? So it may just be an inside day. It may just have some action within that prior day's range, which would be today's range. So that's definitely within the realm of possibilities, but to keep it simple, we'll look at the reaction versus today's high and just take it from there. As of right now, we're dealing with what is a daily time frame breakout, an intermediate term structure breakout. Remember, we've been trading in a sideways range since about June 17th, from this session right through here all the way until Wednesday or even today, triggering that breakout, right? So pretty clean action. Let's jump over to NQ. Now NQ, pretty similar. We come into the sesh wanting to see, all right, how's price going to trade versus this 370 area? 20,370. That's a prior all-time high. Look what we have during the pre-market session. Jumping into 2-minute chart here. Perfect retest, right? That's a really good clue. Even with the data print. Now, this is probably not going to be tradable, right? Unless you're on like a 5-second chart or something crazy like that. There's not going to be a tradable opportunity. But we still want to see how price reacts to this level. Okay, the data print actually tests it, bounces. You get a retest into VWAP into that prior day high area. Another retest into VWAP into that prior day high area. That's a phenomenal 2-hour trader entry. Price sets up the trend day move. Look at that. Some re-entry areas right through here, that post NFP high. Very, very clean action here on NQ. And now testing our upside reference point, 20,640. Always love to see that too. Upside levels being respected shows that our analysis is accurate, right? Always great. Now, as far as what we're looking at for Monday, very similar approach. Can that buying activity continue up through today's high, with the expectation that it definitely could be a little bit of a slower session, right? Could definitely have that inside day on Monday. So that is within the realm of possibilities that we'll be looking for. But as far as today's action, very clean, very technical, a lot of good opportunities. So I hope everyone had a good day, good holiday week. Actually, surprisingly, some very, very good opportunities this week. Definitely beyond what I was personally expecting. So always good to see. Always good to come into every session, prepared for a handful of different scenarios despite your expectations. If you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to shoot me a DM over the weekend in the Traders Think Tank. Otherwise, I'll see you Monday morning. Have a good afternoon.